I'm Melanie. Standing at the entrance of the Hartfield Country Club, I can still feel the weight of the moment when my family finally saw me in my true light. It was at the annual member meeting, a day that changed the course of our family dynamic forever. My family has always been a part of this club. My father, Mr. Thompson, joined when his law firm made him a senior partner. It was a status symbol, a way to show that he had made it in the world. My older brother, Jake, is a successful stockbroker who had just closed a huge deal. For the past year, every family gathering revolved around his achievements, the new car he bought, and his upcoming engagement to his girlfriend, Lily. I, on the other hand, have always been the quiet one. I work in finance, or at least that's what I told them. 3 years ago, I started as a junior analyst at Blackstone Capital, one of the most renowned investment firms in the region. But over the years, I've climbed the corporate ladder and now hold the position of Chief Investment Officer. I manage a portfolio worth billions and sit on the boards of several major companies, including the holding company that owns Hartfield Country Club. 6 months ago, Blackstone acquired a luxury leisure group, and Hartfield was the crown jewel of the acquisition. As the CIO overseeing the deal, I personally negotiated the terms, reviewed the membership structure, and approved the capital improvement plan. I was given a seat on the ownership board, with Platinum Founder status, the highest tier of membership. My family, however, only holds a Gold Standard membership, 3 tiers below mine. It all started with an email from my mother. Melanie, your father and I are attending the annual member meeting at Hartfield this Saturday. We're bringing Jake and Lily, plus Uncle Henry and Aunt Lucy. The members' table seats 8, and we're at capacity. These meetings can be quite boring. Not really your thing. We'll fill you in on anything important. Love, Mom. I stared at the email, sitting in my corner office on the 50th floor, overlooking the city. I replied, understood. Enjoy the meeting. But little did they know, I would be sitting at the ownership board table, running the meeting as one of the key decision makers. On the day of the meeting, I arrived at 2 o'clock in a sleek black dress. The club's general manager, Mr. Davis, greeted me at the entrance. Miss Thompson, wonderful to see you. The ownership board table is ready, just as you requested. As we walked through the main corridor, I saw my family arriving. My father was wearing his club blazer with pride, my mother in a beautiful purple suit. Jake and Lily looked perfect, and Uncle Henry and Aunt Lucy were chatting animatedly. They were so engrossed in their own world that they didn't even notice me passing by with Mr. Davis. The ballroom was set up perfectly. At the front, on a raised platform, was the ownership board table. 5 seats with name placards. Behind it, a large screen displayed the Hartfield crest and the title of the annual meeting. The second tier had tables for platinum members, and behind those were the tables for gold and silver members. I took my seat at the board table. My nameplate read, Melanie Thompson, CIO, Blackstone Capital, Ownership Board. To my left was Mr. Hartfield, the chairman, and to my right was MS. Reed, the CEO of a major real estate firm. Melanie, ready for the membership benefits presentation? MS. Reed asked. I expect some reactions to the new tier structure. They'll adjust. The platinum benefits are well deserved, I replied. The ballroom filled quickly. I watched as my family entered and found their table in the middle section. My father looked satisfied with the placement. My mother was arranging her notepad, and Jake was already networking with the people around him. They still had no idea what was about to happen. At 3 o'clock, Mr. Hartfield stood up and approached the podium. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Hartfield's annual meeting. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce our ownership board. I'm Mr. Hartfield, the chairman. Joining me are MS. Reed, CEO of Reed Realty. Mr. Brown, principal at Brown Development. Mr. Thompson of Thompson Law. And Melanie Thompson, Chief Investment Officer at Blackstone Capital, who led the acquisition that brought Hartfield into our group. The spotlight shone on our table. I gave a brief wave as polite applause filled the room. I could see my family clearly. My mother's hand froze halfway to her water glass. My father's expression went from proud to confused to shocked. Jake stared with his mouth open, and Lily grabbed her phone. Uncle Henry was adjusting his glasses, as if that would change what he was seeing. Mr. Hartfield continued. Blackstone Capital acquired our group 6 months ago. This acquisition has brought many benefits, including capital for improvements, enhanced programming, and expanded amenities. Melanie, would you present the upcoming changes? I walked to the podium. The first slide showed membership benefits restructuring 2025. Thank you, Mr. Hartfield. Good afternoon, everyone. Over the past 6 months, we've analyzed Hartfield's operations and membership satisfaction. Today, I'm going to share some enhancements. I went on to explain the new tiered access system. Platinum founder members would have priority access to all facilities, unlimited guest privileges, and complimentary premium services. Gold standard members would have 4 guest visits per quarter, with additional visits available through day pass purchase. Silver Classic members would have 2 quarterly guest visits. Murmurs rippled through the room. I saw my father lean over to my mother, whispering urgently. They were losing their unlimited guest access. I also announced the $9 million investment in facility upgrades over the next 20 months, including new golf courses, an expanded spa, and renovated dining facilities, all funded by Blackstone with no special assessments to members. The murmurs turned positive. Finally, I introduced quarterly member appreciation events. The first event, a gourmet food tasting, would be limited to 120 attendees. Priority registration would open on Monday for Platinum members, Wednesday for Gold, and Friday for Silver. After my presentation, Mr. Hartfield took over for the budget overview. I could feel my family's eyes on me throughout his talk. They were in intense whispered conversation, and my father kept glancing at the board table. When the meeting ended, as members filed out, I stayed at the board table to review some notes with MS. Reed. I saw my family approaching, my father leading the way. They stopped at the edge of the platform. Mr. Davis stepped forward. Excuse me, the board members are in session. If you'd like to speak with MS. Thompson, I can schedule an appointment. It's okay, Mr. Davis. This is my family, I said. His eyebrows rose slightly. Of course. He stepped away. My father spoke first. Melanie, we had no idea. You're on the ownership board? You're a chief investment officer? You acquired this club. Blackstone acquired the group that owns this club. I led the acquisition as part of my portfolio responsibilities, I explained. My mother's voice was pleading. Why didn't you tell us? You said you were a financial analyst. I said that 3 years ago when I was a junior analyst. I've been promoted twice, to Director of Acquisitions and then CIO. I tried to tell you at Thanksgiving 2 years ago, but Jake was talking about his big bonus and you just said, "That's nice, dear," without asking details. I tried again at your birthday, Mom, but Dad changed the subject to ask Jake about his client list. Jake finally found his voice. You manage billions. You sit on company boards. How could we not know? Because you never asked. You heard financial analyst and assumed I was just pushing spreadsheets in a cubicle. You thought my work was less impressive than your stock, broking deals because yours are more tangible and easier to understand. Yes. Reed approached. Melanie, we should discuss the renovation contractor proposals. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I interrupting? She asked. Not at all. MS. Reed, this is my family. This is MS. Reed. She's on the ownership board with me. MS. Reed shook hands. Wonderful to meet you. You must be very proud of Melanie. Her acquisition strategy was brilliant. The Blackstone board gave her a standing ovation when she presented the final terms. A standing ovation, my mother echoed faintly. She's being modest. Melanie negotiated terms that saved Blackstone $50 million while preserving all the unique features of clubs like Hartfield. She's one of the most talented executives in the industry. Shall we discuss those proposals? Of course. Excuse me, I said to my family and walked away with MS. Reed, leaving them at the platform's edge. When I left the board lounge 30 minutes later, my family was waiting near the entrance. My mother's eyes were red. Melanie, can we please talk? Really talk. We made a terrible mistake. Please let us apologize properly. You can start by actually learning what I do. Not the simplified version you can tell your friends, but the real work. When you're ready to value competence over surface success, then we can talk. My father said, the member meeting. You said there was no space for you, but you were running the meeting from the ownership board table.
Yes.
You excluded me because you assumed I wouldn't fit at your members' table. Meanwhile, I was sitting 3 tiers above you at the board table that controls this entire club. I started to walk towards the exit. My mother called after me. Please don't cut us out. We want to do better. I turned back. My membership card gives me 24-hour access to this club. Yours gives you standard hours access. That's not just a symbol. It's exactly how our family has been. You've only had limited access to who I really am because you never wanted to know the full me. That changes now, my father said firmly. Give us a chance to see you properly. I'll think about it. Right now, I have a conference call with Blackstone's CEO about the Q3 acquisition pipeline. I left them in the entrance hall and walked to my Mercedes parked in the reserved board member spot. Their sedan was in the regular member lot several rows back. The next week, the new membership cards arrived. Mine was platinum with ownership board embossed beneath my name. Theirs were gold with standard member in smaller text. They called me several times that week. Finally, I agreed to meet them for coffee. They arrived early, looking nervous. We've been reading about you, my mother said, pulling out printed articles. Business magazine profiles about acquisition strategy, investment newsletters about emerging CIOs, interviews about private equity. Melanie, you're quoted as an industry expert. I've been doing this work for 3 years. None of this is new to me, I said. It's new to us, my father said quietly. We never bothered to look. We assumed we knew the limits of your success based on an old job title. We were wrong. We talked for 2 hours. They asked real questions about my career, the projects I'd managed, the companies I'd acquired. They took notes and asked for clarification. It wasn't a full reconciliation, but it was a start. Months later, after they made a consistent effort to understand my work and value my achievements, we began to rebuild our relationship. They attended a finance conference where I gave a keynote speech. They read my quarterly reports. They stopped comparing my success to Jake's and started to appreciate both of us for who we are. The real impact wasn't the embarrassment at the meeting. It was the realization that they had spent years celebrating surface success while ignoring my real achievements. I always had a place at their table. They just weren't looking in the right place. I continued to work at Blackstone, leading 2 more major acquisitions in the next year. The Hartfield renovation was completed ahead of schedule and member satisfaction reached an all-time high. The Regional Business Journal named me one of the top 10 executives under 45 in the finance sector. My whole family attended the award ceremony. My father wore a new suit he bought for the occasion. My mother cried when my name was announced. Jake brought Lily and they sat in the audience, taking notes during my acceptance speech about acquisition strategy and stakeholder management. After the ceremony at the reception, my father introduced me to his law firm colleagues. This is my daughter Melanie. She's the CIO at Blackstone Capital. She just led a $900 million acquisition of a tech company portfolio. Not my daughter who works in finance. Not a vague reference. Specific, accurate, and proud. Uncle Henry approached with Aunt Lucy. Melanie, we'd like to apologize again for what happened at the country club. We were part of the problem, celebrating what was easy to understand instead of asking about what really mattered. I appreciate that, I said. At Hartfield, the quarterly member appreciation events became extremely popular. My family attended as gold standard members, never complaining about their tier level or asking for special treatment because of our relationship. They had learned to separate family and professional life. During the holiday season, we had dinner at my parents' house. The conversation flowed naturally between Jake's stock, broking projects, and my acquisition pipeline. No one dominated, and no one was ignored. My mother asked detailed questions about my work, and my father wanted to understand the financial structures I was building. On the mantle, my father's display had changed. Jake's sales awards were still there, but now they shared space with a framed cover of the Regional Business Journal featuring my profile and the Hartfield Ownership Board photo with me at the center table. Equal visibility, equal celebration, equal value. It took years and a public revelation, but we finally found balance. They learned to look beyond surface success, and I learned that some relationships can be rebuilt slowly with boundaries and with genuine effort from both sides. The country club incident was not the end of our family story. It was the beginning of an honest one.